In this video, I'm going to give you the information to help you decide whether you should lease a car or finance a car. Purchasing a car is one of the most expensive transactions you and I will have in our lives, so it's best to get things right the first time. Welcome back to Odin Driven. If this is your first time here, please take a second to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the future content. And if this is your second time or third time or fourth time or so on and you haven't subscribed yet, you're missing out. Please go hit that subscribe button. There it is. Yep, there you go. Perfect. Thank you very much. Let's get into it, guys. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is leasing a car and the benefits of doing so. Now, before I get into the meat and potatoes of the information I'm going to be giving you, I just want to throw out a disclaimer. I know, people are trigger happy with these lawsuits, and I'm not trying to catch a suit like that. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I'm not your dad. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just providing some information to help you along the way. I may be wrong. I may be right. Make sure you do more research, get the right answers, talk to someone who is qualified to be able to give you this information. Don't sue me, man. Let's get back to the video. For those of you who are not familiar with what a lease is, basically you are renting a car for a certain amount of time, whether that be 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, or longer, without going over a certain amount of mileage. Typically it's 12,000 miles a year, but it could be more just depending on your driving style and what you agree upon with the dealership. And what you're expecting to pay is the difference between an agreed upon purchase price and an already set residual price by the dealership or by the actual car company. So for instance, if you and the dealership agree that your purchase price is $60,000 and at the end of 3 years, 36 months, that they expect the price to be $30,000, the difference between that, 60 and 30. Good job. So you're going to be paying a payment based off of that $30,000. With that being said, you will typically have a lower lease payment per month versus a car payment when you finance the car. So for somebody who's looking to get into, a car that maybe they won't be able to afford the monthly payments in terms of financing, you might be able to squeeze in or actually get in there pretty well with a lease. So that would be the first benefit of leasing. Now, a huge plus on leasing here is going to be the fact that you would never be upside down when you're leasing a car. You're renting it, you don't own it. And therefore, you never owe more than the car is worth. Now, the leasing company is technically upside down, but they've built in little safeguards with their gap insurance that you're paying within the payment and whatnot. But for you, the consumer, you're never upside down. Good plus. Another benefit of leasing a vehicle is you will typically have fewer repair costs over the term of your lease. So within the first 3 years, normally you're just doing oil changes, you might, unless you might change the tires, but you're not going to see those long-term issues that you might see 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. The first 3 years, it's really just small maintenance items. Anything that's big is usually covered under warranty. So you can expect to have fewer repair costs when leasing a vehicle. Now, if you like to live the high life and you don't like having old things, you want to be in the newest things, then leasing might be for you. Because every 1, 2, 3 years, you're going to be in a new car. Okay, you bring it back to the dealership at the end of the lease, bam, and find yourself in a brand new car. So say for instance, you were to lease a car this year, the 2020 Dodge Challenger. 3 years later, you bring it back. Now, hopefully the Dodge Challenger's still around. They're trying to cut back on our fuel and whatnot, make electric cars, but I don't think Dodge is going that direction. But ultimately, you find yourself in a 2023 Dodge Challenger. So you're always in a new car, every 3 years, every 2 years, you're in a new car. If that's what you like, then leasing really is for you. And the final benefit of leasing is there's no loan requirements. So if you're kind of struggling with your credit score, you don't have to qualify for a loan. Now, you do have to qualify for, they have to, if you just aren't paying your bills, you're bankrupt and you've been missing bills left and right, they're not going to lease a car to you. No one's going to. But there's more lax requirements when leasing a car versus actually getting financing for a vehicle. So that's something to keep in mind. Now you might be saying, Matt, man, you really painted such a great picture for leasing a car. I'm just going to do that. Ho, slow down, champ. 1 second. Let's go into the benefits of actually financing a vehicle, because there are plenty of benefits on that end as well. So the first benefit requires a little bit of mathematics. I'm not talking, multiplication and decimals and whatnot, but let's just talk about it. So over the long term, when you're financing a vehicle, you can expect to pay less. So the reason being is, if you were to finance a car over 4 or 5 years, even 6 years for, some of us who just extended our finance that long, you can expect that there's an end date on your payments. Oh, look at that guy. You can expect an end date on your payments. Same can't be said about leasing. So say, for instance, you lease a car for 3 years, you bring it back, you lease another car, you're continually paying payments. There's no end date. Whereas when you finance, after those 4, 5, or 6 years, it's over. You own it free and clear. You're just keeping up with the maintenance, putting gas into it, paying your insurance. But the banks aren't coming knocking saying, hey, your car note's due. So that's a big plus. Another plus that you'll run into when financing a vehicle is you have the option to sell the car whenever you want. Now, you may take a loss, at some point, but say, for instance, within 3 years, or if you put a good down payment and you're not upside down on the car, you can sell it. You run into some financial issues, or you just want something different, whatever the circumstance is, you can sell that car at any point. But if you're leasing a car, more often than not, the leasing company will not allow you to sell that lease, and they won't even let you sublease it. When you sign the dotted line on that lease, that's you. When you are expected to pay your lease payments for the next 3 or 4 years, or however long you've leased it, therefore, you're kind of stuck with that. But financing, you can sell it. Leasing, you got to take it back and pay some penalties for bringing it back early. It's not always that great to lease. So financing a car, you can expect to be able to sell your car at any moment. Now, when you finance a car, there's no mileage limit that you have whatsoever. The mileage limit you have is until the wheels fall off. Whereas when you lease a car, you get 12,000 or 13,000, 15,000 miles. And once you go over that, that limit that you have, and you bring that car back, for every mile you're over, there is a penalty. So whether that be 15 cents, 25 cents, every mile that you're over on your lease is penalty. And that adds up quickly, man. Trust me. So, if there's a possibility that your arrangements will change, say you got 12,000 miles on your lease, and next thing you know, you move maybe 30 minutes, an hour away from work, and you're still making that trip, those miles catch up to you, man. You go over that lease, the lease limit on the mileage, and bam, paying a penalty. So financing a car, man, you don't have to actually worry about mileage limits. The limit is in the sky. Sky's the limit, or at least until the wheels fall off. Now, here's a big one for anyone who likes to mod their car or add different things to it to make it look a certain way. When you finance a car, you don't own the car. You're in the process of owning it. You're paying the bank and saying, hey, once I pay this off, it's mine. So you can do anything you want to the car within the law. Obviously there's certain things you can't do, but that's life. But if you want to tint the windows, you tint the windows. If you want to add a spoiler in the back, you want to put a diffuser, you want to put a splitter, you want to do something under the hood, you want to change this and that, add a supercharger, you are free to do whatever you want. This is America. You can do whatever you want. But if you're leasing the car, anything that is considered taking away value from the vehicle is not allowed. And actually, at the end of your lease term, there is an inspector that comes, and he will determine for every ding, dent, and whatever, and if you've added things to the car and they see that, we don't like this, penalty. You put tint on the window and they're feeling rough that day and they say, penalty. You put that splitter and diffuser on there, penalty. So keep that in mind. When you finance the car, you can mod it the way that you want to. But when you lease it, ultimately, whatever you're putting on the car, you better take it off. Otherwise, penalty. And finally, this one is more so with used cars, but when financing, you can purchase a used car and you'll get a discount, or you can work in a discount when you're negotiating based off of the depreciation that car has seen over the last 2 or 3 years. That's why it's typically encouraged that when you're buying a car, buy used. Okay? Let someone else take that hit on the depreciation. You get into a relatively new car that's 2 or 3 years old, still pretty much brand new, and if you get good mileage, that's, it's 7, 8, 9,000 miles, you got a pretty good deal, because the depreciation is 20, 30, 40% off the original price, as long as you can negotiate. But when you're leasing, you typically aren't going to lease a used car. I'm sure it's possible. I wouldn't do it. I don't encourage you to do it. But with that being said, you get a discount when you finance and you get the used car. So get the used car, finance it, bam. So realistically, there's different circumstances and situations that'll determine whether you should lease a car or if you should finance a car. And I'm not here to tell you which one is better, one is better than the other and anything like that. But what I'm here to say is, ultimately, you need to look at the benefits and how it'll benefit you. So if you're a person who likes to purchase a car and drive it until the wheels fall off, then yeah, man, you should probably just buy it. If you like to do mods to your car and you like to change up the appearance and put more power in there and make it your own, then yeah, you should finance that car, man. Take advantage of that opportunity. But if you're the person who likes to be in a brand new car, say for instance, you want to be in a brand new car, every 3 years. You don't like to be in something that's outdated. Then yeah, you should go ahead and lease it. And in certain situations, say for instance, you buy a Scat Pack, but your ultimate dream car is to be in a Hellcat. Well, if you think that in 3 years that your finances are going to be right, that you can go ahead and get in that Hellcat, then yeah, you might want to consider leasing it. But, if you're 4 or 5 years out from that, then I'd say finance, go ahead and put a good down payment down, and when it comes time to get your Hellcat, man, you're good, man. You're in a good position where you're not upside down. You might have a little equity in there. Equity being, the difference between what the car is worth and what you owe. So if you owe less than what the car is worth, there's your equity. A little bit of math in there, a little bit of finance. You're welcome. I'm helping you. You're helping me. So leave down in the comments, do you finance your car? Did you lease your car? Was it given to you from family and friends? Did you just pay cash? I'd love to know your situation. Let me know down in the comments. That'd be real appreciated. And I'll get back to you. With that being said, guys, I really hope this helps you out. Whether it's your first time buying a car or your 50th time buying a car, it's always nice to have information that'll help you make the right decisions in your finances. Ultimately, like I said, this is one of the biggest purchases you'll have in your life. We want to get it right, okay? So if you found this video helpful, please hit that subscribe or hit that like button. Matter of fact, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Thanks, Uncle Matt, for helping me out. I think I'm ready to make this decision. So I really appreciate it, guys. I got a lot of different videos coming out. We're still in this quarantine, so I got a lot of free time. And, ultimately, if you guys have any videos in mind, I do have my email down in the description, actually the channel email. And you can leave a comment saying, hey, this is what I'd like you to talk about. And I'd love to cover some topics that you guys picked. Because I know I'm picking some good stuff. But I want to hear what you guys have in mind. So with that being said, thank you so much. Thank you. We're all blessed, man. We're blessed to be here. We're blessed to have a good life. And just keep praying. Keep reaching out to God. And, we're going to see through all these things, all your personal challenges, all the challenges of the world. We're going to get through this. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.